Dear students, today we will discuss about the t ratios that changes at pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. Done. And remember thing, sine is always changes into cos and cos is always changes into sin x. Similarly, tan x is changes into cot x and cot x is changes into tan x. Similarly, secant x is changes into cosecant x, cosecant x is changes into secant x. Now see how it will change. Now see, I have divided this x-axis and y-axis in the four quadrants. This is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, third quadrant, and then it is a fourth quadrant. Remember, in first quadrant all are positive, in the second quadrant sine and cosecant both are positive, in the third quadrant tan and cot both are positive, and in the fourth quadrant cos and secant both are positive. Done. And remember one more thing, that on the x-axis, positive x-axis, here the angle is a 0 degree. Okay, and then it is equal to a 360 degree, that can be written as a 2 pi, then it is a 4 pi, and even pi's are always here, 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi, that will be always here. And here the angle is equal to, this is a right angle, so that's why it becomes a 90 degree. And after this, on the negative of this is a negative x-axis, this side the angles are pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, that means 180 degree. Pi means 180 degree. Okay, so it's a pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, and odd pi's are always here. And similarly here the angle is equal to 3 pi by 2. And after this the complete circle that becomes, and so that's why here it is equal to your 2 pi, that means 360 degree. Done. Now how it will change? Now see, I am giving the example. See, suppose you have to given sine of 90 minus theta. So first of all we will see sine 90, and sine will be changed at 90, and that becomes always a cos. The t ratio changes at 90, and I said already that it becomes at changes at 90 degree and 270. So sin 90, that change, and it becomes a cos, and after that we have to see the quadrant. Which quadrant is this? So 90 minus theta, 90 minus theta, that means it is a first quadrant, so that's why it is equal to your, in the first quadrant all are positive. Done. So that's why it is equal to cos theta. Similarly, sine of 90 plus theta, that means now it is a 90 plus 90 में कुछ ऐड हो रहा है, so that's why sin 90 change हो जाएगा, that becomes a cos theta, and 90 plus theta, it is a second quadrant, so that's why it is a sine is a, once again it is a positive in the second quadrant, so that's why it is equal to your plus theta, so answer is a cos theta. Similarly, sine of 180 minus theta, this is a pi minus theta, that means 180 minus theta. Then now once again see, this is again a second quadrant, because this is a 180, and if we subtract something, that becomes it's a second quadrant, so it is a sine 180 minus theta, that means it is a second quadrant. And at 180 degree the t ratio will not change, so that's why it's a sine as it is, and in the second quadrant it is a positive, so that's why it's also equal to sine theta. The next is sine of 180, the next is sine of 180 plus theta. Done. So that means it's a 180 plus something, that means we are in our third quadrant, and at 180 degree the sign will be not change, so that's why it's a sine, and in the third quadrant sign is a negative, so that's why it's a minus sine theta. Similarly, sine of 3 pi by 2 minus theta, now it's a 3 pi by 2 means it's a 270 degree. Okay, so it's a 270 degree minus theta, and sine at 270 degree it will change and sine will change into a cos, and it is once again 270 minus theta, that means it is a third quadrant, so that's why once again it becomes a negative. Similarly, sine of 3 pi by 2 plus theta, now it is equal to 270 degree plus theta. Okay, so now it is a fourth quadrant, and sine at 3 pi by 2 it will be changed into a cos, and it is a fourth quadrant, so that's why it is equal to minus cos theta. Similarly, you can see it's a sine of 2 pi minus theta. This is a 2 pi minus theta. Okay, 2 pi minus theta, that means we are in a, once again we are in a fourth quadrant. Okay, so 2 pi minus theta, we are in a fourth quadrant, and at 2 pi t ratio will not change, so that becomes a sine theta, sine as it is, and it is a fourth quadrant, so that's why it is a negative. Similarly, you can see 2 pi, or otherwise you can say it's a sine of 0 minus theta, or sometimes we say 0 minus something, that means something, so that's why we can say sine of minus theta. Okay, because it is in the fourth quadrant, so that's why it is got your negative, and at a 0 t ratio will not change, so that's why it becomes a minus sine theta. Similarly you can solve for the others. It is a example for the sine. Similarly you can solve for the cos, tan, etc., whatever you want to change. Okay, the most important thing is that always remember that in the second quadrant only sine and cosecant is a positive, and the rest of the numbers are rest of the t ratios are negative. Similarly in the third quadrant tan and cot are both are positive, and the rest of the t ratios are negative. Similarly in the fourth quadrant cos and secant both are positive, and the rest of the four t ratios are those are negative. Okay, so this is a very important table. Remember the students. Okay, remember this one. Similarly you can solve for the another one. I am giving the example one more. That's suppose if you have to give a tan of 180 degree minus of theta. So first of all tan at 180 degree. Okay, so that's why t ratio will be not changed. It is got your tan as it is. Now you have to see which quadrant is this. This is your second quadrant, and in the second quadrant tan is a negative, so that's why it's a minus, and then it's a theta. Done. Like this. I'm taking one more example. Suppose you have to given secant of 270 degree plus theta. Now once again at 270 degree the t ratios will be changed, I have said already, and secant becomes into a cosecant, so it's a cosecant, and it is 270 plus theta. That means we are in the fourth quadrant. Secant is in the fourth quadrant, secant is always positive, so answer is a cosecant theta. Okay, thank you beta.